Dear missiles, very good morning um, and happy Pongal to you. Actually, this lesson was to be delivered on 12th after 12th evening, but on that particular day, the video recorder of my system was damaged, and that's why I could not present you this lesson on that day. Anyhow, now I wish to remind you the things what you have learnt earlier regarding these various methods of teaching. These methods have already been presented to you, but the outlines of regarding these methods already our Ramakrishna sir has explained you and presented you. Among so many methods of presentation, lesson presentation are there, but among them direct method, translation method, bilingual method, and some other methods have also been introduced today in this class. Listen to them, and this is the very important topic in the paper 4 of senior students. So you should concentrate upon this topic very carefully, and maximum out of 70 marks. Some 10 to 12 marks will be covered from this chapter only. That's why each and every bit of this unit you should be well aware of it. Now, first of all, let us remind ourselves the things in the indirect method, how the lesson is from Pedagogy of English, paper 1, its code number is 301, and during the third semester, at the end of the third semester, you have to face this paper. Now let us see the direct method. Let us first see the characters of this direct method. These lessons are in the target language. Target language means we wish to teach English language. That's why lessons will be in the English language. No mother tongue will be used in a direct method. So this lesson, whatever if you wish to teach the students Hindi language, lessons will be in Hindi only. If we wish to lesson them teach Tamil, lessons will be in Tamil language, and that is the target language. And visual aids are used to teach vocabulary. For vocabulary, we should not translate the word to the English language to Telugu, or English language to Tamil, English language to Malayalam, like that. Only visual aids will be shown to the students, and if you wish to teach, if you wish to introduce them the sound table, the table, picture of a table or the object should be shown to the students. And another thing of this method is particular attention is placed on the accuracy of the pronunciation and grammar. This is pronunciation and grammar they vary from language to language. That's why the attention, teacher pays utmost attention on the accurate pronunciation and grammar. They should be accurate one. Otherwise, those the what we say, the pronunciation, so far as this English language is concerned, the sounds, the letters and the sounds are different. Not like in our mother tongue. Suppose bu, the sound of bu, it vary from word to word. Bu in business, b, bus, bu ba, and bush in boo, and like that. The pronunciation should be taken utmost care in this direct method. And grammar also, it varies from our mother tongue. All these things will be taken care of in the direct method. These are the basic principles of direct method. We should be very careful when we introduce, when we present a lesson in direct method. Only English language will be used. The Telugu or the mother tongue of that particular area, that should not be used. That is the first and foremost principle of this direct method. That's why teacher should be well versed with the language, and he should use English language only. So the grammar, this is in direct method, grammar will not be stressed, but grammar will be there. And another thing, basic principles of direct method, let us see. Direct relation between thought and words. That means when we say a sound, that particular object should come into their mind. This is the basic principle of this method. Using this method, a learner thinks and speaks using the same medium. He thinks in English medium and he speaks in English medium. If we wish to teach them Hindi, he thinks in Hindi and he speaks in Hindi. And another thing, this method totally avoiding the mother tongue is the important thing so far as this usage of this direct method is concerned. That's why teacher, he himself should be a good speaker, and he should know, he should fluently develop himself spoken language. Otherwise, he can't make his students learn the target language, or mostly our Telugu language, Telugu to English language. This is the very important rule in this the principle, in the basic principles of this direct method. Direct method, it is almost the particular language what we are going to make the students know, that language only will be used. That's why this is the advantage of children in this method. The advantage is the children, they will have direct experience. Directly how we are learning our mother tongue. By hearing the sounds of our mother tongue only, we are learning our mother tongue. Without classroom, without textbook, without teacher, at the time of admission, we are able to speak our mother tongue. How we learnt those things means by the environment, it played a vital. In such a way, we learnt our mother tongue. In this case also, direct method is such a one. Direct experience will be given to the students, and oral practice will be there in the direct method. The method emphasizes on oral practice for everyone. Oral practice means students, they are made to use English language only in the classroom and in the school premises. No other scope is there. If he uses the mother tongue, he can't learn whatever the vocabulary he may know, whatever the grammar rules he may know. He can't speak English. You see, grammar by doing the exercise in a grammar book and by translating certain mother tongue paragraphs into English paragraphs, we can't speak it fluently. That's why oral practice is abundantly given in this direct method. This is one of the principles of this direct method. And in this method, the whole class, the teacher and the entire classroom and the other teachers, at least within the premises, they never use mother tongue. And another thing here, stress is given on functional grammar. Functional grammar means this method does not put emphasis on this one traditional grammar. Only functional grammar will be used. Grammar rules are not so important here. And another thing, merits of this direct method is it is full of activity. Activity means by using the by doing the things, they speak those things in the English medium only, in the English language only. They ask questions in between the lectures. And another thing, students' self-correction will be there. They speak, and if any if any sentence is against the grammar, be corrected by the students only. Grammar taught use not by rules. First, grammar rules will not be taught to the students. First, as we know our mother tongue, when we were the students of the first standard, then we know how to speak Telugu, we can understand Telugu. But by the time we don't know the rules of our grammar of Telugu language, but we can speak. That's why grammar is not given importance. And certain demerits are also there in this direct method. Here, no translation should not be used. That is the one type of drawback. Until the children understand the concept of a particular word or a particular sentence, teacher has to try to make them understand the language in English only. He should speak English only, and he should try his level best to make them understand by showing a picture or by telling a story or by creating a situation and all these things. But another drawback is, while we doing all these things to explain a particular word, time will be killed. Most of the time is needed. Whereas in the for overcrowded classes, this method is not suitable. And another thing, each student may not be satisfied. Now let us see the characteristics, merits and demerits of grammar translation method. This grammar translation method is otherwise known to be translation method. The content that is, now let us see what is GTM or grammar translation method. A method of foreign or second language. Foreign or second language means that is English. Teaching through detailed analysis of its grammar rules. In the direct method, grammar rules are not stressed, but whereas in this grammar translation method, grammar rules are given more importance, and followed by the application of the knowledge in tasks such as translation of language one. Language one means Telugu or mother tongue. Target language will be taught. And 5 concepts of grammar translation method is learning. Number 1 is learning grammar. 2 is translating back and forth between Telugu to English, or L1 language 1 to language 2, Telugu to English. Memorizing list of words. And another thing, utilizing exercises and tests in a constrained way. And this is one of the thing in the translation method. And explicit error correction. After making paragraph or something, error correction will be there. Now let us see the history of grammar translation method, or GTM, grammar translation method, is the most traditional of all methods. This is the oldest method, widely used in the 1920 to 1930s. It is derived from the classical method. When the Western people, they used to teach Latin to Greek, they used this method, grammar translation method. Goals, what are the goals of the grammar translation method? To learn grammar rules and vocabularies of the target language, English, and to develop reading skills to a level where they can read literature in the target language. To develop the students' mental discipline. These are the goals. And another thing, let us see typical characters of grammar translation method. What are its characters? Vocabulary is often taught in isolated words rather than some phrases or full sentences. Vocabulary is taught, each word is taught separately. Suppose here house means illu, car means karu. Uh, in such a way, separate words, separately, the mother tongue will be used and it will be taught. Lessons delivered in the native language. That means on grammar translation method, the Telugu people may use Telugu, Hindi people may use Hindi, Tamil people may use Tamil. And teacher centered with little use of the target language. It is teacher centered. This method is teacher centered, not the people centered. Pronunciation of the words are given little attention. Whereas in the direct method, pronunciation is given utmost importance. Here, pronunciation is not concentrated here. And another thing of this translation method is students are taught to construct sentences using correct grammar. Basing on the grammar rules, they write sentences. But whereas the direct method, formal grammar will not be there. Only by experience they write. Translating passage is one of the most common thing in this translation method. And another thing of this direct method is some classroom activities using grammar translation method is translating passages from L1 means language on Telugu to L2 means English. Memorization of vocabulary, the children they get by heart the words. Then more activities, reading comprehension questions at the end of the lesson. Fill in the blanks will be there. Deductive application of rules will be there. Antonyms and synonyms will be introduced to the students in grammar translation method. That's why all this, so many things, they differ from direct method to translation method. And strengths of this grammar translation method. Strengths are merits. Language on Telugu shapes thinking and translation helps better understanding. Telugu plays greater role. It improves rights of student and invites speculation. Speculation means assuming something, and discussion will be there. Now you see here, teacher, he is something making encourage students to guess meanings of vocabularies and enhance writing and reading skills will be there in the grammar translation method. And another thing is here, constraints means demerits of this language, demerits of this grammar translation method. Let us see. First demerit is less time is spent on oral practice. Oral practice will be there, only translation will be there. Attention is centered on the teacher instead of students. This is teacher-centered method. Students are here secondary thing. And another thing you see here in this method, students will be passive. Using grammar translation method, boring. Students, due to little communication between teacher and the students, they sit passive and they listen to the teacher only. So students' participation is something given less importance when we compare with that of direct method. And another thing, target students is here. Target students who seek to enjoy literary text in target language. Students lacking in grammar proficiency and vocabulary. In this method, when they lack the grammar rules, they can't develop their skills in English language. That is the drawback of this language. And the evaluation, so in the evaluation of grammar translation method, written tests will be there, written tests are conducted, and students are given passage translation. Passage given in Telugu and they have to translate into English. And what are the Let us see the characteristics of bilingual method. Mother tongue equivalent of English words are told to the class. The word by word translation is not done by the teacher in the bilingual method. Translation is used only when the meaning of a particular word is different to explain, and through direct method English passages are explained in English and not in the student's mother tongue. The mother tongue is used only at the initial stage only. After acquiring sufficient knowledge in the target language, that is English, they start they start teaching in foreign language, that is English. Rules of grammar are not taught separately as is done in grammar translation method. Grammar translation method, grammar rules are taught separately, but here separate grammar rules are not taught. Sentence is a unit of teaching in this bilingual method, not the word. Sentence, the meaning of entire sentence will be presented to the students in a bilingual method. Bilingual method means both the languages will be used to teach, to make them students use the targeted language, that is English in our case. Telugu medium students should use English language fluently, because to get such an ability to stand in the competition in the corporate sector, this language, students should be conveniently and comfortably they should use English language. Otherwise, they lag behind in the corporate world. That's why when using this bilingual method, first they take the support of mother tongue. It is a one type of midway, we can say it is one type of midway between direct method and translation method. Until the student acquire fluency in English, the help of mother tongue will be given. And after that, the mother tongue, the uses of mother tongue will be lessened, and gradually that will be avoided. That's why this method will be, to some extent, it will be convenient to the students. And now these are the very important things in bilingual method. And some certain other methods are also there. They also we should use in the classroom wherever they are necessary. And a little bit we have to know about the methods also, the nature of those methods also. Using sometimes we need to use more than one method to make the understand students very well. We should use some methods together to make the students understand well, and they have to develop their language skills. This is the very important. That's why let us see some other methods also. What are the nature of those methods, and where we can
much effective until and unless you merge with the other methods, which include maybe your discussion method, role play, problem solving method, or any other method. But the lecture method is good, okay, when you are addressing when your focus is to cover the large number of topics. Let's see the second method, that is discussion method. Discussion method involves a variety of forums for open-ended and the collaborative exchange of ideas among the teacher and students, for basically the purpose of furthering the students' thinking, learning, problem solving, understanding, etc. Discussion method is highly used method for admission into the B schools, for the admission in the MBA, and for doing the doctoral studies. Even you can go through one of the video which I have prepared on group discussion do's and don'ts. It is also a very good method for the teaching. The third method is a project method. It is an educational enterprise in which the students has to solve a practical problem over a period of several days or a week. So it becomes self-learning, guided learning, and involved learning. So the effectiveness will be more. The students can be able to remember the things for a longer duration of time if they do some project on it. Okay, if you think about the science subject, if they're doing a static or a dynamic model, okay, or if they're doing some experiment, okay, they'll be able to remember it for a longer time. The fourth method is a role play. It is the changing of one's behavior to assume a role, either unconsciously to feel a social role or consciously to act as an adapted role. For example, you want to give an idea about one of your patient, that how the patient has behaved with you, or how the patient has given a history to you, or any incidents which has happened between you and patient, so that you can perform it in a form of a role play and you can explain to the students, you can show that to the students. That will create an interest and students will be able to remember this in a form of an incidents for a long period of time. The fifth one is your problem solving method. It is always a good way for the teaching because it will enhance the mental thinking, it will increase the mental activity. So basically purposeful mental activity we give that will help to solve the problem and make the decisions or to fulfill a desire to understand. So basically our mind will keep on thinking. Just suppose a problem arises, automatically if we try to think about the solutions, our brain will think about it and we try to get so many ideas. Okay, and if you want to develop this problem solving methods or the approach for the teaching, as I said previously, first make our feeling level comfortable with our students, then the dealing will improve, and okay, many of the problem we can solve with the students and they can enhance their knowledge. Let's see the other 5 methods. Demonstration method, it basically involves showing by reason or a proof, explaining or making clear by use of the examples or the experiments. You demonstrate something, show something to the students, perform some experiments, show something on the models, etc. So it's a good way students will be able to remember it for a long time. 7th method, classes outside the classroom. Now sometimes changing the place where you are taking the lecture, that also helps a lot. What you can do is you can take the lecture, same lecture, maybe in a hospital in the form of a clinical teaching, so that enhances your teaching effectiveness. Maybe you can show one patient and you can do a case related discussion. And if you are not in a medical field or a paramedical field, if you just take the lectures outside the classroom, it will make the learning more engaging, make the learning more relevant if you are taking them to a place where that particular teaching has to be done. For example, if you are taking them to a science museum and if you are teaching them, okay, that is the same lecture if you are taking it in a museum, and if you show them something, it increases the effectiveness. Basically it nurtures the creativity and imagination of the students, and it develops the learning through the play and the experimentation. So this is also a good idea. We can implement it for a change and definitely it will be welcome from our patient side. I give you an example. Just suppose you want to teach about vitamin D, which we are getting it from sunlight. Okay, and you want to show that you want to tell them that we are getting a cholecalciferol from vitamin D3, and that is required if your patient is having a osteoporosis or if your patient is having a calcium deficit. So if you take the lectures outside the classroom where they are taking the sun bath as well, definitely that will be giving them a practical idea as well, that okay, how the sun rays are feeling, and you can teach them the theoretical part as well. The eighth method is a storytelling. This is a very good method of a teaching, okay, rather than story. If you are not comfortable or not appropriate with your profession, you tell them about some of your old cases which you have treated, or some relevant incidents which has happened, and the which you can correlate with the topic which you are teaching right now. So a good form of a teaching is a storytelling, and it has the potential of fostering the emotional intelligence and help the students to gain the insights into the human behavior. Remember, most of the time, okay, this story, incidents, case, clinical teaching, students will be able to remember it for a long time than just a formal lecturing, which most of the professors, they do it in a class. Okay. The ninth method is always welcome the new idea. When we involved in active teaching with our students, there may be new ideas which will come from the student side, or even sometimes a new idea comes to our brain actually when we are teaching to our students. So we should be always welcoming a new idea. So basically an open-minded attitude can help us for innovating the new things and the new teaching methods, and that increase more of the participation from the students. I always say that we should not inform the facts, knowledge or the data to our students, but we have to involve our students. If they are involving in our lectures when we are teaching them, so what will happen, that will enhance their involvement, will enhance their knowledge. And the last method which I want to say is the simulation games or the educational game. So learning is a fun when the puzzles and games are the part of the education. Students may not feel that they are learning something when their lessons are introduced through the games, and puzzles and games helps the students to think creatively, and it will help them to face the challenges. So always through the games or through the other activities we can teach and train our students. So I always say, first we have